Today is the 30th of May 2019, and this interview is with Sarah
Faegre.
Sarah Faegre. So Sarah, you're the biologist that is studying the aga here in Luta, and it's such a privilege to be out in the jungle with you today. For the first time in my entire life did I see the aga in the wild and watch them call each other, call a friend to themselves. Oh, that was absolutely incredible. So give us an idea, tell us how you got out here. And I noticed that there was a transmitter which you tracked this bird that we found, and then they're tagged. So give us a little idea of what this is all about and your work here.
All right, well, I've been here on Luta for 10 years now. I've spent most of my life since graduating from college studying endangered birds, trying to understand their behavior and doing conservation work with local scientists and local communities to try to increase the populations and make them healthier, understand why they're declining. So I came here to Luta after working for a long time in South America. I only intended to stay for 6 months. I was hired just as a volunteer, essentially. And 6 months later, I was offered a supervisory position and said, I think I could stay another 6 months. And then 10 years later, I have a family here. I'm raising my 2 boys on this beautiful island, and we have no intention of leaving it. It feels like home to me now. And I love my work. I really love my work, and I love this community and this island. And so what we're doing here today is radio tracking aga. These aga, like you mentioned, have radio transmitters, and that's a method we use to try to understand what's causing the decline. Why are there so few of these birds left in the wild? And we can monitor that by putting these little backpacks on them. Essentially, it's this tiny little tag. It weighs about 2 to 3% of their body weight. It sits on their back and has straps that come around in the front. It's all attached with a single cotton thread, so that if this harness gets snagged on anything, it will just fall off the bird to keep them safe. But as long as it stays on the bird, I use my equipment, this antenna and this receiver, and listening to these beeping sounds from this VHF transmitter tells me what direction to go. So Arlene followed me out here today, and we were able to find 2 of the aga with radio transmitters to confirm they're still alive and well. We got to watch some interesting social behaviors. We first found a female named Desea. Desea was named by some little neighbor girls who wanted to give her that name because they said it means hope or desire. And so this bird, Desea, she sort of represents a hope for the species. She was found abandoned. One of her parents died, and the remaining parent couldn't take care of both her and her sibling. So she was the smaller bird. She was left behind. But my team of biologists found her, alerted me to her poor condition. We took her into captivity and raised her to adulthood, and now here she is back in the wild as like a symbol of hope. And we found her first. She was calling, and her friend came in, so we got to see some interesting pair behaviors. I hear them calling behind you right now.
Yeah, I was going to say they're getting closer and closer. I noticed that even though we were pretty close to them, they were like within maybe 5-8 feet of me while I was photographing them with the still camera. Is that a very common behavior? Do they come and see what's going on with the humans in the forest?
They're very curious, and especially young birds or birds that aren't breeding tend to be bold, and they will approach people. They first looked at us from a distance. They're very smart. They judged whether we were a threat. They took a look at your camera and decided it was kind of interesting, but probably not something to worry about, and that's when they came in closer and just kind of went back to their business. It was really actually an ideal observation because they were comfortable approaching, but they weren't really focused on you. They were flaking bark and pounding on seeds and going about their business, which is exactly what we want to see, so we can observe how they're living their lives without impacting them too much.
Well, I didn't realize I'd be a subject of an experiment or observation, but I noticed too that the first bird, the ceja, was cautious at first and kind of pretending to do what she wanted to do. But then she was getting closer and closer to me. Is she coming closer behind me?
She is coming closer.
Okay. So anyway, I saw that she was also keeping one eye on both of us because we split up. So I thought that was pretty interesting myself, and I was trying to keep an eye on where you were located. But what a privilege to be able to be out here with them. I can't tell you, my heart's still racing. I'm so overwhelmed from being here. It's really incredible. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for coming to visit us.
I promise you I will be back.